Thank you, Susan, for everything. The first time I actually ever met Susan was a while back when I was still a grad student. I was just doing my master's. And I went up and introduced myself, and I said, I'm doing the master's in international relations at Oxford, same degree you did. And the first thing she said is, are you doing the doctorate? I was like, I didn't think about it. She's like, do the doctorate. So I went ahead and did the doctorate, and people asked me, why are you doing this? I'm like, well, I think Susan Rice asked me.
And then you've taken good direction ever since.
And then I was at the White House, and I was closing out my time at the White House, and I was walking to the car with Susan, telling her we're about to have a baby boy, and she's just like, what's the name? I'm like, well, my wife and I haven't told anybody else outside of this, but you're the three names, and she helped tell me exactly which one. So I figured since she's been such an integral part in such important decisions in my life, that I was going to seek her advice again when I'm running for Congress. And to have your support, to have your encouragement means the world to me. You've been a hero of mine, a mentor of mine, and this is really an important and emotional moment to have you by my side. So thanks so much, Susan. And thank you all for coming out here. I mean, this is insane. I mean, this is really crazy here. 8 months before Election Day? I mean, I think we all can recognize that this is not normal. This is not normal that this many people show up outside of the district that the person's running in this far out before Election Day. But you're here today because you recognize that we don't live in normal times.
That's right.
That this time calls upon all of us to figure out what we're going to do, what each and every one of us can do over the next 8 months and beyond to get our country on a better path. What I want to talk to you about here today is that many of you I don't know, many of you I do, but I want to tell you about myself. I want to tell you why I decided to do this crazy thing of running for Congress. I want to tell you how we're going to win this November. I'm here before you because the district that I'm running in is a district that gave me and my family everything. This is the district that gave us that American dream. I'm the son of immigrants. My parents went through a lot to get us where we're at. My dad grew up in an orphanage. He's a survivor of polio. He's somebody who was homeless his entire childhood. Came to the United States, got an education, went on to become a PhD in genetics, dedicated his life to trying to cure cancer and Alzheimer's at a research institute right in South Jersey. My mother grew up in a poor farm family that experienced hunger and famine after the Korean War. She was able to come to the U.S., get a nursing degree, serve in the hospital systems in South Jersey. And this district is where I did my entire kindergarten through 12 in the public school systems there. Gave me everything. That's where I hit my first home run, had my very first paycheck. This district has given me all the opportunities that I had in life. That education allowed me to become a Rhodes Scholar, a Truman Scholar, get to go to some of the finest institutions in the world. And when I thought about what I want to do with my life, my career at that moment, having all these opportunities, I looked at what my parents did. And the line that we always had in our family is that service isn't just a job, it's a way of life. That it doesn't end when you clock out at the end of the day. That it's about how you interact, how you engage and understand your responsibilities to the people around you, your place in the community. So that led me to want to become and serve the country. Serving as a diplomat, as a national security expert, I was able to have incredible opportunities. I got to serve out in Afghanistan as a strategic advisor to General Petraeus and General John Allen. I was able to go over to the Pentagon and work under Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel and a lot of great leaders there. I was over at the White House working with Susan, working with Laura, working with so many people who were in this room. And at the end of my service there, I got an experience that I'll never forget, which is I got to walk my parents into the Oval Office and introduce them to the President of the United States, while I'm holding my, at the time, 4-month-old baby boy. 3 generations of my family and taking people like my mother and father, everything that they went to, and then being able to personally introduce them to the President of the United States, that was incredible. That's America. That's America to me. That exact moment right there. So what I've told you so far, that's a lot of who I am, of what I've done, but that doesn't actually explain to you why I'm standing here before you today. I want to share with you one story to give you a sense of what actually motivated me to do this. I have 2 baby boys, a 2.5-year-old and an 8-month-old. So it's clearly a perfect time to run for Congress. It's not crazy at all. I get tons of sleep. My 8-month-old, his name's August. About a month or so before he was born, my wife and I went to the hospital, and we were going in for the routine final ultrasound. And when we were there, I was excited because, we get to look up at the screen, you get to see your baby-to-be. I remember looking up at the screen, and all of a sudden, the doctor turned it off. They just finished the measurements. They came back saying that our baby-to-be was dramatically underweight. That there was unclear exactly what the problem was. Unsure whether or not there was an issue with our child's health. Unsure whether or not there was something else that was going on. I just kind of tuned it out. I couldn't actually process this anymore. And from that moment on, we had to go into the hospital constantly for different tests, different stress tests, trying different techniques out, different diets, seeing what we can do to raise the weight up to a stable level. We were terrified. And I remember sitting in that hospital lobby trying to figure out a way in which I can distract myself from the fear that is just overwhelming inside of me as a terrified father. And I would just stare up at the TV in the hospital lobby to try to distract myself. The only problem, though, is that the only thing on the TV was the news. And the only thing on the news that time last year was a Republican effort in Congress trying to do everything they could to try to make it harder for those that need health care to be able to get it. I remember looking up at that screen, and who do I see up there leading the charge on this? Who do I see bragging about how he's able to revive this bill up from the dead? Who do I see up there talking about how he was able to lead the charge? It was my own representative, Tom McCarthy. The representative of the district that gave my family and I everything that we have. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that someone like that was representing me in Congress. I talked to my wife and turned to her and said, if our baby is born at a stable weight, if we as a family can move forward, then I would do everything I humanly can to hold that man accountable for what he just did. That's why I'm here in front of you today. Thankfully, our baby was born at a healthy weight. He's been growing. Actually, he's a bit fat now. But that moment is seared in me. That moment, I feel that raw emotion as a terrified father every moment. It's a part of who I am now. And I'm sure that if I had time to speak to each and every one of you today and ask you why you're here, that you have a moment like that in your own life. Whether it's someone you love or yourself that has a pre-existing condition, or some other issue of a job loss or something like that. But there's something seared in you that brought you out here 8 months before election day. Because you want to figure out how we can get things on a better path. For me, knowing that my representative was the one that led the charge and came up with the idea of gutting pre-existing condition protections in order to get that bill passed. That's not what my district's about. But we gotta find ways in which we can find the ways to stand up here. He's someone that led the charge on healthcare, on gutting our healthcare. He was the only member of Congress of New Jersey to vote yes on that tax bill, when all the other Republicans in the state said that's going to hurt New Jersey families. He's the only member of Congress of New Jersey to co-sponsor that concealed carry reciprocity bill, something that's going to make it easier for people in states that have loose gun restrictions to bring them into our state. These are the types of things that he represents. He votes 94% in line with President Trump in a district that voted for Obama twice, a district that has 13,000 more Democrats registered than Republicans. But if you wonder, then people ask me, well, how is it that he's there? How is it that people haven't been able to push him out of office? He's only been there for 3 years. What's going on? Well, what I tell them is that the Democratic challenger in 2016 against him only raised $600. And in an R+1 district in a blue state during a presidential cycle, that's what happened. He didn't even spend the $600. $0 spent in my district.